Nothing lasts forever. Not you, not me, not the things we love, nor the things we hate. Everything that exists is in motion, flowing toward some unknown end. Empires crumble, mountains erode, even the stars will one day fade into darkness. There is an old saying, ancient and universal, "This too shall pass." A reminder whispered in moments of sorrow and repeated in times of triumph. Some say it originated in Persia. Others attribute it to King Solomon, and variations of it exist across cultures and centuries. It is an inescapable truth, one we are forced to confront whether we want to or not. Impermanence is a double-edged sword. It can be a balm for suffering, because no pain lasts forever, but it is also a thief, robbing us of everything we hold dear. The greatest joys, the deepest loves, even humanity with its towering cities and boundless dreams will one day be reduced to dust. Imagine for a moment that you are at the peak of happiness. Maybe it's the embrace of someone you love, the moment you achieve a long-fought victory, the warmth of a sunset that seems made for you alone. In that instant, you are whole. You want to stay there forever. Now imagine the opposite, a time of deep suffering, grief, heartbreak, failure. A moment so painful it seems like nothing will ever be good again. You feel stuck, as if time itself has conspired against you, trapping you in an endless loop of despair. But here's the truth. Both of these moments will pass. No matter how much you want to hold on to the good, it will slip through your fingers. And no matter how much the pain feels eternal, it too will fade, leaving only a distant memory. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, put it simply, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man." Everything flows. You are never the same person from one moment to the next. Even your thoughts, your beliefs, and the way you see the world are in constant motion. And yet, we resist this truth. Why? Because we crave permanence. We build relationships hoping they will last forever. We chase success, hoping it will solidify our worth. We search for meaning in things we can possess, things we can claim as ours. But impermanence does not negotiate. The people we love will change. Some will leave, some will drift away, some will no longer be the people they once were. Even if we are lucky enough to keep them, death will one day separate us. And yet, impermanence is not just loss, it is also possibility. If everything were fixed, if nothing could change, then pain would be eternal. Every mistake permanent, every failure final. But impermanence means reinvention. It means transformation. So the question is, do we fight against it, or do we learn to move with it? For the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, impermanence was not a burden, but a challenge. He did not believe in clinging to the past or mourning the loss of what once was. Instead, he asked a radical question. What if you had to live this exact life, every moment, every pain, every joy, over and over again, forever? This idea, known as eternal recurrence, forces us to confront a brutal reality. If our life were to repeat eternally, would we live differently? Would we make different choices? Would we embrace the present more fully? This is where amor fati comes in, the love of fate. Nietzsche did not simply advocate for acceptance of life as it is. He demanded something more radical, to love it, to own it, to say yes to everything that happens, not just in resignation, but in full embrace. To Nietzsche, impermanence wasn't a tragedy. It was fuel, a challenge to live so fully, so intensely, that the passing nature of all things became irrelevant. Because what mattered was not how long something lasted, but how deeply it was lived. Imagine for a moment what that means. It means not just tolerating hardship, but embracing it as necessary, even meaningful. It means not just acknowledging the past, but loving it. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every failure, because without them, you would not be who you are. Nietzsche saw impermanence as a call to action. If nothing lasts, then every moment is a chance to create, to push forward, to mold life into something meaningful. It is not about waiting for things to happen. It is about shaping them. This is the opposite of resignation. It is an active defiance against passivity. It is saying, yes, nothing lasts, but while I am here, while I have time, I will live so fully that impermanence no longer frightens me. If Nietzsche's response to impermanence is to seize life and to master fate, Buddhism offers an opposite yet equally profound approach: to let go. At the heart of Buddhist thought is a simple, undeniable truth: everything changes. But instead of seeing this as a challenge to overcome, Buddhism teaches that our suffering comes not from change itself, but from our resistance to it. Why do we suffer when things end? Because we cling. We attach ourselves to people, to experiences, to the illusion that anything can be truly ours forever. We fight against the inevitable, trying to hold water in our hands, forgetting that the tighter we squeeze, the faster it slips through our fingers. The Buddha illustrated this with the parable of the burning house. Imagine a man trapped in a house that is on fire, but instead of escaping, he is distracted by the furniture, the walls, the objects he does not want to lose. He hesitates. He does not want to leave behind the things he loves, but the house is burning, whether he accepts it or not. This, Buddhism teaches, is our condition. We are all clinging to something that is already disappearing. We attach ourselves to the idea that love should last forever, that success should be permanent, that youth should never fade. But everything we love is already changing. Every relationship is evolving. Every moment is passing into the next. So what is the solution? Non-attachment. This does not mean apathy. It does not mean withdrawing from life, nor does it mean avoiding love, ambition, or joy. It means participating fully while accepting that everything is temporary. To love someone deeply, but not to suffer when they change, because change is inevitable. To enjoy success, but not to define yourself by it, because success comes and goes. Zen Buddhism often compares life to a river. You cannot hold on to the water. If you try, it slips through your fingers, but you can let it flow. You can move with it. To the Buddhist mind, peace comes not from controlling impermanence, but from moving with it, like a leaf floating down a stream, surrendering to the flow rather than resisting it. Here lies one of the deepest philosophical tensions. Nietzsche says, "Do not surrender, fight, shape your fate, make the fleeting moments so meaningful that their impermanence does not matter." Buddhism says, "Do not fight, let go, accept." The more you cling, the more you suffer. Both reject clinging to permanence, but they arrive at opposite conclusions. Nietzsche's amor fati is a war cry against passivity, a call to say yes to life, to make it meaningful through strength, action, and defiance, to embrace impermanence not by accepting it, but by conquering it through sheer force of will. Buddhism, on the other hand, sees peace not in domination but in surrender. Instead of grasping at the fleeting, it asks us to loosen our grip entirely. One approach is about mastery, the other is about release. Which is right? There is no universal answer. Some are drawn to Nietzsche's fire, the idea that if we live intensely enough, impermanence loses its sting. Others find truth in the Buddhist view, realizing that suffering comes from resistance and freedom comes from acceptance. Perhaps the balance lies somewhere in between. We live as if time is endless, as if there will always be more chances, more tomorrows, more opportunities to become the person we imagine ourselves to be. But time doesn't wait. It moves whether we're ready or not, whether we notice or not. The days blur, the years vanish, and suddenly, the future we assumed was waiting for us is already behind us. We put off our dreams, delay our happiness, and leave important words unspoken, always assuming we'll have another chance. The people you thought would always be there have drifted away. The moments you were too distracted to appreciate are now just distant memories. The version of yourself that once had endless possibilities has slowly faded into someone who only watches life happen instead of living it. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a version of you that feels completely ready. The only time you will ever have is now. If you don't start living today, when will you? Impermanence is both a burden and a gift. It takes everything from us, but it also gives us everything we will ever have. This too shall pass is not just a warning. It is a reminder, a call to appreciate what is here now, to live before it is gone.